Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Excel for Beginners course. In this part we're going to begin to look at calculations and we'll be putting the formulas together shortly. Before we do that, I will just show you how to recognize the different mathematical operators in Excel. On the keyboard you find a number of keys that you need to use to create the calculations, and they are the / key for division, the star key for multiplication, the plus sign for addition, and the dash or minus sign for subtraction. Now if you have a standard keyboard with a number keypad on the right hand side, you will find all these symbols positioned around the right edge of that number keypad, the top right edge. If you have a laptop keyboard, you will find the / key somewhere around the bottom right area, near the shift key or the large shift key. The multiplication key you will find on the number 8, so it's shift and 8. The plus sign is next to the back delete key, and you'll also find the equals sign on that key as well. And the subtraction key is to the left of the plus and equals key. That's where they are on the laptop keyboard and also on the standard keyboard, but when you're using Excel you'll find that with the standard keyboard it's much easier to use the number keypad. Well, I find it easier anyway. Now I'll just show you an example of each of these different calculations. As you see here, we have division, multiply, addition and subtraction, and we'll just create the calculations for each one. So with any calculation in Excel we start with an equal sign, so press the equals key, click on the first part of the calculation, which is the cell in column D there, the number 10, press the divide sign, that's the / and click on the second part of the calculation, which is the cell in column F. Now you see the calculation says equals D1 divided by F1, and all we're simply saying to Excel is tell me what 10 divided by 10 is. If I click on that little green tick, we get the answer 1. So I'll just go through, and now you know the basics, so I'll create each of these calculations. So it's equals 10, press the star key on the keyboard, times 10, click on the tick, we get the correct answer, thank goodness. And there's the addition key, or the addition calculation, press the equals key, click on the first 10, click on the addition key on the keyboard, the second 10, click the tick, and the last one is the subtraction, press the equals key, click on the 10 there, the minus sign on the keyboard, and click on the 10 there. And that's it, they all seem to work fine. So that's the basics anyway, at least you know where the operators are now on the keyboard. So we'll go back to our other spreadsheet and we will create the calculations on here. Now the first calculation is going to be multiplication, and what I want to do is multiply the value in column B, the rental price, by the number of rentals, the value in column C. So let's get started there. So I'm going to click into cell D3, or the first blank cell under the income column heading, and press equals on the keyboard. Click on the first value in column B that I want, the one below rental price there, it's £1.95. Press the star sign on the keyboard, which is the multiply operator, and then click on the number 5, which is the second part of the calculation, the number of rentals. Click on the green tick up there on the toolbar, and that enters the result 9.75 or £9.75 as it will be. I'll do one more in the next one. So it's press equals to start the calculation, click on the first value, multiply sign, click on the second value, click on the tick, and there's the result again. Now obviously I'm clicking on this little green tick up here as I do the calculations, but you can also press the enter key. You can also do control and enter, and the difference there is when you press the enter key by itself, if I just do that on the keyboard now, we move down every time I press the enter key. Let's use the arrow key to go back up. If I do control and enter, it stays, I'm pressing control and enter now, and what happens is that you enter the data but it stays in the cell that you created the calculation in. That's the only difference really. Okay, so we have two results there. Now I could go on and just manually create formulas for each of those cells, but I'm going to show you what most people do in Excel, which is to use the autofill feature. Now autofill is just a way that Excel copies calculations for you, and to use it what you need to do is position the mouse pointer at the bottom right of the cell, and then you can click and drag, but a cleverer way of doing it is to simply double click. That when you double click, Excel simply runs the formula all the way down the table and puts the results in for us, which is fantastic. Okay, so that's the first part of the calculations. What I'm going to do now is add on some new labels to this table, and we'll create some other formulas in a second. So I'm going to have a totals row. I'm going to have a row that works out the average of some of those values. I'm also going to have a calculation that finds the highest value, a calculation that finds the lowest value, that's what maximum is maximum, min is minimum, and I'm also going to count the number of items in the table. And I'm going to put in brackets movies, which is what I want to count. Now I'm going to format these new labels and I'm going to align them right. So I go to my formatting toolbar, click the align right button, and that sets those formulas against the next column. I'm going to create some calculations now in here. Now the total in column B, I'm not really interested in the total value there because it's simply a total of rental price. It doesn't tell me anything. It's pretty much useless really. However, I do want to know the total of the all the number of rentals, and what I'm going to do here is I'll do a manual calculation first of all to show you how you add up lists of numbers. And what you do is you type equals on the keyboard, type sum, do an open bracket or open parentheses, and then what you do with the mouse is you click and drag and select the range of numbers that you want to include in the calculation. Close the bracket, and there's the calculation, equals sum brackets C3 colon C8, which means the range between C3 and C8. And press the enter key in this case, and we get the result 49, which is exactly right. Well, I think it is anyway. Okay, now in the income column, I also want to work out the total income. This time I'm going to use the auto sum button, and you'll see the difference between doing it manually and using the auto sum feature. So if I just put my mouse pointer up over the auto sum button there and click it, you'll see what happens. It automatically puts a little marquee box around the range it thinks that you want to be added up. Excel's just guessing, but it's making an intelligent guess that the things above where you're making the calculation are what you want added up. Sometimes it guesses that the things to the left of the cell are what you want adding up, sometimes above. In this case it's guessed correctly. Now what you can do, if you don't want this blank cell to be included, we can reselect the range. Now it doesn't really matter because there's no value in there and there won't be a value in there. But if you want to be specific, you can actually just reselect the range for the auto sum calculation. When you're happy, you can accept that. In this case, I'm going to press Control and Enter, and you'll see that keeps the selected cell on the formula there, or we get the result 97.8. And in the formula bar, we see the calculations equals sum between brackets D3 colon D8, which is the range of values. That concludes tutorial number 3. If you'd like to go on have a look at tutorial number 4, we'll cover creating the formulas for average, maximum, minimum and count using the paste function feature. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, hope that was useful, and see you next time.